What's up, everyone? Quick little update, getting ready to hit the road for Christmas, but just came down and finally got a charge on this battery. So I am going to check that out now and see if we have some good voltage here. So there you go, 12.5, that should work. I am just going to try out real quick to see if this thing will even start. All right, here we go, guys. We've got power. And the CD player is going nuts right now. All right, let's give it a go, see if this thing will crank. And nothing. Sounded like the battery didn't even try to kick over the starter. One more time. Actually, it sounds like it's kicking, but maybe the motor is locked up. What's up, everyone, and welcome back. I hope you all had a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I'm just getting back on my feet here. Been sick a couple days after the holidays. Today is actually the last day of 2023, but you'll be seeing this video in the new year. Anyway, guys, put the battery tender back on the car. I'm gonna make another attempt to start this now and see if we get a different result than last time. All right, fingers crossed. Let's try one more time here. All right, guys, I'm gonna take a look at a couple other things here. It's super early, by the way. Like I said, been sick and my sleeping pattern's off, so it's like, I think about 4:30 right now. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and just check the oil level, check some fluids in this car, just to kind of get a better idea what is going on here. I may go ahead and start pulling a couple parts off, such as the strut tower bar and the plastic cover here. Start digging in a little more to see what is going on. I did want to go ahead and get the trunk cleaned out, so I'm going to work on that here in a minute after I check out these fluids and just get the rest of the interior of this car cleaned. I'm going to have to move it out of the garage because I've got some other work to do. I believe Alex's part's here. I'm going to try to get that on his car today. And I have some other things I got to do to prepare for the new year. I've got a lot of stuff going on at the Airbnb. But anyway, guys, let's get started. Alright, guys, just cleaning out a little bit here. Really, this all looks really clean. Overall, everything is here and in its place. Obviously, still a little dirty. I got a few things to clean up, but from this perspective, I'm really pleased overall. So I'm going to finish wiping down the interior, and then I'm going to put this thing up on the lift to take a look underneath. Alright, guys, I guess I'm going to have to wait a bit longer because of the ride height on this car. I actually can't even get it on the lift. That was one thing I was a little bit concerned about. I tried jacking it up. My floor jack doesn't even go underneath. So I'm going to have to get some ramps or blocks of wood in order to get this thing up on the lift. But I'm not going to be able to do that right now. One thing I did notice here is this intercooler. I knew it had some damage and it was slightly bent, and I wasn't sure to what degree, but one thing I did notice here, I don't know if you can see it, but basically where this is bent, it almost looks like there might be a little tiny split up there. So that's something I'm gonna have to check out whenever I pull that off. The other thing I did notice here, the oil was really clean. A lot of the fluids looked really good, but I did notice this spray pattern underneath the hood. It's all over almost everything. It makes me question if there was a actual coolant issue with this car. I checked the overflow tank, it was full, but when I popped off the cap here, this looked pretty empty, so that could be part of the issue. I'm not sure yet, but more things to check out. Anyway, like I said, it's still really early here. It's still dark outside, so I'm gonna go get some breakfast and rest here for a little bit because I'm still not feeling that great. But yeah, later on today, plan to try to move the Infinity over onto the lift. I've noticed what sounds like to be a wheel bearing. I've checked it before, but it's gotten worse. I want to check that out. And like I said, I want to get this part back on Alex's car so I can get that back to him as soon as possible, because there is a lot going on right now. In the next week or so, there's going to be a lot going on with the Airbnb, as well as a few other things I'm working on. So anyway, guys, if that's something you're interested in, be sure to stay tuned for that, and I'll see you on the flip side. All right, guys, giving Alex's car another try. Just got it back together. All right, we're on a slight slope downhill, but we're just gonna put it in reverse here, see what it does. And nothing. All right, guys, I'm gonna do a few more things here on the Z. I'm gonna go ahead and start removing this strut tower brace and the engine cover, just getting this thing ready in order to do a little bit more diagnosis of what is going on here. I may try to turn the motor over off the crank pulley, and I'll probably go ahead and start removing the spark plugs to see if there's any indication there of what is going on. But I'm just going to get started removing parts here. Like I said, I still got to get the Infinity up on the lift so I can check out the wheel bearing on that and to see what is going on there, because the noise on that is definitely getting worse. So I want to go ahead and figure out what I got to do there, maybe go ahead and go order parts in order to fix that. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright guys, I got the intake piping removed off the throttle bodies, took off the air filter, took off the crash bar and the intercooler and some of the other intercooler piping, as well as the blow-off valve. Now I should be able to remove the throttle bodies and possibly the intake plenum if I need to, but really I just want to try to get to the spark plugs here. Pull those out, see what's going on. A couple little things I found here. When I pulled off the intercooler, I've never seen this on a car before and did not know this is on here, but there's this performance damper. It's a Nismo part, looks like, but it's bent. And I don't understand what the purpose of this is really. It just seems like you'd have a solid structure there. But if anyone knows, drop a comment down below. And I'm not sure if this thing is repairable or if I just have to buy a new part. The other thing I found is, as I mentioned before, there was a split here on the intercooler, and as you can see, these cooling fins are split. At first, I thought this was going to be a bigger issue, but it actually appears that all the air passages in this core are still intact, and it just appears to be the cooling fins. I don't think that's going to cause a problem with any air leaks, but if I want to save this, I'm probably going to have to try to figure out a way to bend this somewhat back into position, because whenever I pulled this off the car, it was just tight against everything, and it was causing some other issues. I found the blow-off valve was rubbing against the front of the motor here and against this wiring harness, which cut the cover on this. But I kind of pulled this back just a little bit to see if I could see if there's any damage to the wires. They look like they are okay. This was also causing this pipe to rub against these breather lines. So yeah, I just want to make sure that I get that intercooler back into position where it's not causing things to rub. Plus, once I replace the damper or fix the damper, it would be up against that. But for me, I'm about to go grab some lunch, just debating on whether to continue working on this car, because right now I'm kind of in the process of waiting on the electrician for the Airbnb for about the next week. I ordered some more stuff for that this morning. So for the most part, I'll be working in the garage here this week. But I'm not sure if I want to go ahead and push this car out just to move my car over, just to take a look at the wheel bearing. I might just jack that up where it's at. That way I don't have to push this out, because when I push it out, I've got to get back in here, and that's a process. So I'm thinking about just leaving this in here for now to continue to work on it and continue to further diagnose what is going on with this car, so I have a better idea of what I need to do to fix it. All right, guys, I just got throttle bodies off, and I have my first find. It looks like we've got metal shavings in the intake. It was inside the throttle body as well. It looks like there's even maybe a chunk of a piece of metal inside this intake. I'm not sure yet. So anyway, I'll continue pulling off this intake manifold and spark plugs. One thing I did notice when I pulled off the intercooler piping, there was a little bit of debris in it. It was a little bit concerning, a little more than I'd like to see. It was just a little more than dust. It almost looked like a little bit of dirt or very fine sand or something. So I'm not sure what that's all about. I checked out the turbo. There's no play in the turbo, so that's a good sign. So I'm going to continue digging in now. All right, guys, now I got the upper intake put them off. I see some more metal in these runners. Looking down in here, you can see the valves. I don't know how well this will show up on camera, but you can see the valves down in there. And whenever I get over to this cylinder right here, you can't see the valves. It's hard to see on camera, but basically there's some fluid in there. I thought it was oil at first, but I think it might be water actually, because I can kind of see with my flashlight through some murkiness there, the valves. So yeah, this motor is definitely gonna be needed to be pulled out and either rebuilt or replaced. I'm probably going to just put a used motor in this for now, and then maybe eventually I'll tear this motor down and rebuild it. I'm not sure about that yet, but I'm gonna go ahead and just continue working on pulling things apart here and trying to get this thing ready to be pulled out. All right, guys, taking my first look under here, just seeing what all we got going on. Finally got this car up on the lift. Had to use a couple boards in order to get the lift underneath of it, but we got some white line sway bars. As I mentioned before,
HKS, I believe these are coil overs. Then we have these exhaust collectors for the turbo with the wastegate, downpipe, exhaust, splits into two. I don't see a brand on this anywhere. I'm not sure what brand this is. If anyone knows what brand this may look like, you can drop it down in the comments below. I don't see any branding on it whatsoever, so I'm not sure what kind of exhaust this is. And here in the back, like I said, HKS coilovers, I do believe. And then we've got these camber correction arms on these massive 305 tires. These just look insane whenever it's up here like this on the lift in your face. Just look how wide that is. So yeah, this should be a fun project. I'm gonna go ahead and start draining the fluids now so I can begin removing more things off here, and hopefully maybe sometime later this week we can go ahead and get this motor pulled out. All right guys, I got the coolant drained, got the oil is finished up draining now, but that's pretty much gonna wrap it up here in the garage for me today. I've got a couple other things I gotta go take care of this afternoon. So anyway guys, you know what to do. Be sure to hit that like button, be sure to subscribe, and stay tuned if you want to see more. Until next time, keep building that dream.
You know who made